Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Media Boat Podcast.
If you're listening to this in audio form, you would have noticed our ramp up is back. Our
Hey.
intro music is back.
Hey,
We
intro
have
music.
fixed that from being marooned to possibly semi-permanent in the near future.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens to the maroon format as we go forward. But the important news is that this is another edition of the Media Boat Podcast, as we've always presented it to you. Today is October the 14th, 2020. And my name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt. We are a Media Boat Podcast. We talk
Yes.
about TV, movie, music, and video games. Not necessarily in that order.
But in that order, actually.
Oh, I
You
actually
did
said it in
correct
that order?
one, actually.
Okay, so actually in that order.
Actually in that order. But yeah, thank you for joining us for another episode. Let's get rolling right into it. We always start the Media Boat Podcast with the movies section. And we typically start with box office, but you don't need to know that. The numbers are so low and theaters are closing again. We're not even going to talk about it.
Yeah, as we reported last week, Regal will be shutting its theaters again. Not in the news this week, but AMC did come out and say what we had already reported on, that their runway in cash reserves will only last them to the end of the year and slightly into the beginning of next year, which we had previously reported on them going 6 months into 2021.
Yeah.
Or positive cash
So,
reserves.
no surprises there. They're able to stay afloat at least until next year, where they can reassess when things either start to open again or get locked down again because we have another wave or something. Who knows? Life is unpredictable these days.
Especially in the U.S. But what is not predictable, or I guess is predictable, is that we will continually talk about Disney.
Yeah, so our first story, there is one new release this week I just should mention, a movie called Honest Thief.
Oh, yes. This is Liam. If you're going to the theater and you want to see an honest thief, this is Liam Neeson, who in semi-taken format, basically old man does action stuff.
Yeah.
He plays an honest thief where he's a former bank robber, now reformed, and wants to give back said money to the FBI and everything that he's stolen.
Sure.
Except when rogue FBI cop agents decide they want the money for themselves, try to double-cross Liam Neeson. He must be an honest thief to be Pokemon Center for some reason.
Sorry, I was saying, but nope, I can't put it on top of the box because it's too tall.
On the side. Box on the side.
Thought about it, and then I was like...
Anyways, Liam Neeson is an honest thief in An Honest Thief.
An Honest Thief. So yeah, that's probably out there. Go see it in a drive-in. I don't know. That's what people can still do at this point.
We'll talk about drive-ins in a bit here.
We will. But first of all, like you said, our first big story is about Disney, because Disney is taking this pandemic and making the most of it by completely restructuring their company around streaming.
So when new Disney CEO Bob Chapek was announced, he was coming from the Disney parks. He was known as a penny pincher, someone who favored investors and saw Disney as a profitable company. When he was announced to be CEO, everyone kind of freaked out because we were getting away from the Bob Iger, Michael Eisner kind of imaginative Disney and more into the corporate side. Everything's all about the money business of Disney.
Are you saying this is that paying off?
I'm saying this is what we're fearing as...
This is what happened.
Yes.
I mean, already, like, ever since we even had, like, Disney Plus being announced even, which I believe predates his term as CEO. Yeah. Even then, we kind of saw the company going in that direction. Like, where can they expand with these other ways to earn money, these other pipelines? And I think the thing that forced his hand, I think, to go mega capitalism here is the pandemic. Is that it's completely removed park revenue from being a possibility, especially here in California where Disneyland remains closed.
Not only that, but this past week they laid off 28,000 people.
Yes.
But even more people got laid off from the hotels surrounding it who were counting on Disney being open.
Yeah, the tourism industry for Disney right now is dwindling. It's not looking like it's going to be a source of income as lucrative as streaming is. So what does Disney do? They, of course, say, hey, let's do what works. So here's basically the story. They're restructuring their media and entertainment divisions in order to further accelerate to direct-to-consumer strategy. It would be centralizing the media businesses into a single organization that will be responsible for content distribution, ad sales, and Disney Plus. This is notable because Disney, as a lot of these bigger media conglomerates, usually are pretty separated. There's different gardens, you could say, where different aspects of the business take place, like television, film, parks, home entertainment, streaming, typically are all under
vacations, hotels,
tourism,
tourism.
But the thing is that now they realize that the most lucrative place is direct to consumer, which is where streaming lives. So as of August, Disney has 100 million paid subscribers across its streaming offerings, more than half of whom are subscribers to Disney Plus. So the CEO, Bob Chapek, is that how you were pronouncing it?
Yes.
Chapek, said in an interview, quote, I would say COVID accelerated the rate at which we made this transition, but this transition was going to happen anyway. As part of this reorganization, Disney has promoted Kareem Daniel, the former president of Consumer Products, Game and Publishing, to now instead oversee the new media and entertainment distribution group. He will be in charge of making sure streaming becomes profitable and will hold the reins to all of the company's streaming services and domestic television networks, including all content distribution, sales, and advertising. So just to recap the last few weeks here of Disney streaming news, they've moved a lot of things that were supposed to be theatrical releases to streaming. The company pushed back Black Widow, as we talked about on the show already, has announced Pixar's Soul, as recently as last week, to no longer be a theatrical release and be a Disney Plus release. Not a premium Disney Plus release, as you may have guessed following Mulan, but a regular Disney Plus release like what they did with Onward at the beginning of this pandemic. And that will be Christmas Day. December 25th will be Soul, which, by the way, I was going to mention this to you post-pod, but I guess, does this mean that we postpone year-end discussions for film until after the 25th? Because I don't think we can have a movie conversation without seeing Soul.
Well, seeing as we usually do our post conversations like that week leading up to December 1st.
Or
we
January
can do that,
1st.
Yeah. Up to
but
January
I feel
1st.
Like usually, though, we at least have our lists in the can by the time that Christmas comes around. I don't think we can do that.
Well, yeah, we can do it leading up to then. Like, we can mess with the order.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's our podcast.
But anyway,
we can do stuff.
So the last little bit about the story is that we still don't know exactly how well Mulan did. There were some numbers that got leaked out, but Disney has not said straight up, this is the result of that experiment, that $29.99 experiment with Disney Plus. But we are supposed to see that during the company's next earnings report, which is coming in November. So we will see. That'll probably tell us whether Disney will continue doing that premium model on top of putting things out on Disney Plus. So yeah, it's looking like they know where their bread is getting buttered right now, and they want to make sure that the right people are taking care of it.
Right, and I think Disney Plus is going to be extremely lucrative because even though it's $6.99 for Disney Plus, that's $6.99 per month, unless you were smart like me and many others who subscribed to Disney Plus for 3 years, $450 back before it launched when they're doing their free access.
If you didn't, just a heads up, and I'm included in this, if you did annual, your year is coming up next month. Just November, we will see a full year of Disney Plus. So it's time to re-up if you haven't.
And speaking of that, I think we will see a lot of people re-up because Mandalorian hits on October 31st.
It's very
October
smart of them to
30th.
do that. Very smart of them to do that. To have like a ramp in to a new subscriber, new year of subscriptions.
Right, and if your year is going to lapse and Mandalorian comes out, which they're going to do on a weekly basis, that's going to keep people resubscribed for the whole year.
Yep.
Very, very smart.
They were thinking. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, last bit here is, of course, nothing about Mulan for premium access, which is, I think, why Soul might be going straight to streaming.
Yeah, that's my thought too. Is that maybe it was good, but it wasn't good like to a certain degree. Like maybe they were expecting it to do like Trolls World Tour numbers, and it didn't hit it. That's my guess.
But what is in this is that it's only available for streaming on Disney Plus in North America.
Yeah.
In international, it will get a theatrical release.
Yeah. I mean,
so they're getting a little bit of both there.
Yeah. Also, it's important to note that Mulan has now become available starting this week on other video on demand services, digital as they call it. So there is now a way that you can rent it now without having to pay the full $29.99 price, just so people know. And also, that's another pipeline. That's another income pipeline for Disney. So maybe
we'll see the fruit bearing on those trees come next quarter. I don't think you'll see that in November.
Yeah. So there's a lot of question marks about exactly how this stuff will be distributed, but remains to be seen. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. Let's move on to our second story of the week, which is not just about Disney, but all those films, all those studios with films that are waiting for the Oscars this year.
So you mean the Tenet sweep?
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Because as we get closer and closer to Oscar season towards the end of this year here, the Academy is, of course, still seeing what other restrictions they kind of peel back to make it easier for studios' films to be eligible. The newest shoe to drop is drive-in screenings. So the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences voted on Tuesday that drive-in screenings will now count towards qualifying a film for the Oscars. For drive-in screenings, there will only be one screening per day required, as opposed to 3 for all other kinds of screenings. They have also added 2 more addendums to this year's eligibility. 1, films which were intended for theatrical release but are initially made available through commercial screening, VOD service, or other broadcast may qualify by making the film available on the secure Academy Screening Room member site within 60 days of the film's streaming VOD release or broadcast. Interesting, right? So that gives studios an option. Instead of doing theaters first, doing streaming first does not make your film ineligible anymore. It actually will count.
Right, but they put that caveat in there that it needs to be accessible on the Academy's screening room.
So that's just a matter of them making a deal with the Academy and making sure that they talk to them over there and making sure it's available. So, and 2, films may qualify with a traditional theatrical release, completing a 7-day run in one of 6 qualifying cities. Note 6, that's 4 more than usual. As previous, it was as long as you had a run in Los Angeles and New York. Now it includes Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco / the Bay Area, Chicago, Miami, and Atlanta. Those screenings have to occur at least 3 times daily, with at least 1 screening between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Additionally, drive-in theaters in these cities will now qualify as a commercial venue. However, the screening requirement will not be adjusted from 3 times to once for those. Films that have a theatrical release are not required to submit it to the Academy Screening Room within 60 days. That is optional for ones that were actually screened in theaters.
This sucks for everything between all those cities, specifically St. Louis and anything in Texas.
Yeah, pretty much. You're just not gonna. I think that it depends on the studio and how wide their distribution is and what their channels are. It is, though, in the grand scheme of things, good, because it is getting a lot more options for films to be able to be eligible, which is really all we can ask for.
Right, and they definitely hit a lot of production hubs in Chicago, Miami, and Atlanta.
Yes, that's true. But production and distribution aren't necessarily, they're not essentially the same pipeline. They're different things.
Right, but if you're a creator who puts a small film together in a production hub, you don't necessarily have the distribution to put it everywhere.
Yeah.
But in that city or somewhere within that vicinity. It's a lot easier to access.
Yeah. Which means that the streaming option becomes more lucrative at that point, now that it's an option. Still, though, all these peeling back restrictions and all of these new addendums do not cover up the fact that this is going to be a very, very strange year for eligible films. I still don't know. We're in October, and we still don't know what our front runners are going to look like.
Oh, mine is Palm Springs via Hulu.
Maybe, but they had to have made this deal, right? They would have had to go through the screening room stuff. I don't know if they did.
I don't know. It's past 60 days, maybe? So
yeah,
if it goes up right now, possibly.
Yeah, definitely past 60 days. So I don't know. Hulu must have already had to have that conversation for this to be an option for them.
Or they put it in a theater somewhere real quick.
Yeah.
Make that
possible. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that works. So a lot of questions going into this year. Who knows what we'll be saying in January. All right. That's it for movies. Did you watch any movies this week?
I was supposed to watch some Netflix movies, including Hubie Halloween.
Oh, no.
And the other one, The Trial of the Seven or something.
Okay.
One about Chicago.
Yeah, yes.
But I didn't get to either of those because I watched something else on Netflix, which I'll get to in TV.
Yes, we will get to that. But yeah.
And you didn't watch anything, I assume?
Nope, no movies.
Nope.
Okay, well, I guess that means we can move on to television, and we always start television with our trusty, reliable Sports Corner. And we start with Sports Corner this week with the end of an era for Clint Bowyer, who I guess is a NASCAR driver?
Yes.
You don't have NASCAR on here, but you do have racing, so I assume.
Yes, Clint Bowyer retires from racing.
Yes, and he's joining the booth crew, so he's going to be calling some NASCAR for you.
Yes, when they did the virtual racing, Clint Bowyer was one of the announcers, so this fits right in with that.
Yeah,
I believe he's also been doing some announcing for the Dirt Series and like the D League.
Okay.
So this is a natural fit, a natural elevation for him. But hey, this opens up a new driver for next season.
Yeah, it does. And speaking of NASCAR, you texted me excitedly that there was a Roval race this week.
I know you love the Roval.
I love the Roval. And it rained. Tell me about this rainy Roval.
So speaking of the D League and upcoming NASCAR names, Roval rain on Rider Day. Saturday it rained in Charlotte where the Roval is. Sunday was clear, but there were still some soggy parts in the track, which definitely didn't have a whole lot of traction in all of it. But hey, Roval still happened.
We should mention for people who are not longtime listeners of the Media Boat podcast, a Roval is a road oval. It is a special road track that they occasionally race in NASCAR.
Yes, it is only in Charlotte, South Carolina, and it is part road course and part oval course.
It's both.
It's both. It's a Roval.
Somehow it's a Roval. All right. So rainy
but
Roval.
NASCAR playoffs continue, and they will end in November.
I was going to say September was last month.
Yeah. No, I know what month we're in.
But other sports happen. Most notably, basketball is over. The bubble has popped officially because our own Los Angeles Lakers have won the 2020 NBA championship.
Yeah, they did. And people celebrated in the streets. Yes. One person was even seen in a literal bubble celebrating in the streets.
Yes, because COVID be damned, people will celebrate a Lakers win in Los Angeles, no matter what happens.
Yep.
Also notable, this has kind of started up, kind of something we kind of mentioned on this podcast briefly a couple weeks ago, the conversation about LeBron James, because this becomes, what, his fourth title?
Yes, it's his fourth title. He did 2 in Miami, 2 in Cleveland, and 1 in with the 2 in Miami, 1 with Cleveland, and 1 with the Lakers. 4 NBA titles.
Yes.
Yes, you've probably seen everyone asking on Twitter around that time, does this make him the best basketball player ever?
It's a conversation, I think, that can happen now, because you have a lot of people arguing, is four championships in 10 years better than a three-peat?
Well, I have put this to bed that because he's no longer an if in that category, I mean, he's definitely elevated that status. And because he did it with 3 separate teams, and it's not like he was the supporting player on a team like Draymond Green, who also has 3 championships with 3 different teams. He was the centerpiece in those teams. Therefore, I think you can say he is better than Michael Jordan. There's
conversation, certainly. I'm not an expert. I'm not somebody who looks at stats all day, so I can't tell you for sure. But it's definitely, I definitely think he's definitely one of those. If you make a short list of the top 10 athletes, I think he's probably on there now.
Well, you usually measure this stuff because of championships. From the level of, okay, you won a championship, you're the best in that season. He's able to do that with a different supporting cast. He is the main player in those teams.
Yeah.
And he made it to the playoffs, to the finals, 8 out of the past 10 years. And ended up winning 3 of them.
It's really impressive.
Yeah, because he lost the first one, never 4 of them.
Yeah.
So, I'd say he is probably the best around. Jordan's gonna keep him down. He's the best.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see as the conversations continue and his career continues. He's not done.
No,
so,
but
more to happen.
Just don't let Jordan take it personal, because he'll put 60 on you.
He'll take it personal. He will. All right, let's move on. Right after the championship, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver informed league employees in a thank you letter that they are all receiving a $1,000 bonus and 4 Fridays off beginning October 30th, as well as Thanksgiving week, for a job well done, I think.
No, those are paid days off because there were 0 positive COVID tests while the NBA bubble happened.
That's impressive. I mean, seeing how baseball's gone, seeing how football is going, it's very impressive that they were able to get out with 0.
Right. The only time they had a scare of a positive COVID test was in the one player on the Clippers went to go get wings.
Yes. Don't leave the bubble. That's how.
Right, but he had left the bubble for family engagement.
Exactly. So.
But while everyone was in the bubble, no one there got a positive test.
Bubbles work, turns out. That's what they proved. The bubble works.
Excessive supervision works, even for highly paid athletes.
Turns out. Then lastly, baseball chugs along, but we have some teams who are all vying for the finals here. We have the Dodgers and the Braves in the NLCS, and the Astros and the Rays in the ALCS.
Winner of those teams goes to the World Series.
Can you imagine if it's Dodgers-Astros?
Currently, both those teams are losing this series.
Oh, interesting.
So, conversely, could you imagine watching a Braves-Rays?
No, I can't imagine watching that. I don't want to watch that.
I think no one wants to watch that, which means some voodoo trickery is going to have to happen for the Dodgers, and hopefully not the Astros.
Yeah, hopefully not the Astros. We'll see, but I feel the more interesting game here is the most interesting game here is the Astros Dodgers, but probably not. But
right,
it'll be regardless. tops off a weird year in baseball for sure, no matter what happens.
Well, to top off a weird week in sports, last night we had Tuesday Night Football on CBS.
Yes, we did. Tuesday Night Football. Soon soon the blank night football thing will have no meaning because at some point in history, every night has had football on it. Like, we're just going to get to that point pretty soon here.
Well, I mean, when playoffs come around, it's Saturday Night Football and Sunday Night Football.
See? Yep. There's already Thursday Night Football, so we're whittling down the days. Wednesday and Friday, we're looking at you. You're next on the chopping block. Yeah, high school football is owned Fridays, but no longer. Give it up to professionals. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Things are going to have to be moved around as we get more and more weirdness happening in the league. So
yes,
it's inevitable.
Right.
Anything else in sports before we move on to television news?
Check your fantasy waiver wires.
Okay.
I guess that's it.
I'll do that.
All right.
Okay, I've checked it. I don't have one, so that was very fast.
You waved everybody?
Yeah, I waved everybody. I'm just not playing, it turns out. Now, this would be actually a perfect segue into what I want to talk about TV, because it is sports related. But I'll do what I'm supposed to do and wait until the end when we talk about thoughts. So first, let's talk about television news, why don't we?
All right. What am I watching?
I don't know what you're watching, but here's the news. Our first story is about HBO Max, Warner's answer to Disney+. Is
it an answer? If you're yelling into a void?
Actually, I have not actually watched a whole lot of my HBO Max account until recently, where I pulled it up to watch something. Oh, that's right. I forgot to say in movies. I did watch a movie. It's not released in 2020.
Cats.
I did watch 2019's Cats and finally saw that ridiculousness. But we don't need to talk about that because that didn't come out this year. But what we can talk about is HBO Max, which is where you can watch Cats if you'd like to right now. But anyways, what I was saying is I may not use that account that much, but my roommates and my significant other apparently do all the time. So it's making up for the fact that I don't use it.
So I had HBO Max through Time Warner. Time Warner recently forced us to upgrade our package.
Oh.
Because we were grandfathered into an old Time Warner package. I'm sorry, Spectrum. Right. It's not Spectrum.
Yes, it's not
Spectrum.
Because
we were grandfathered in for 5 years, they said, that's enough. We need you to upgrade to our new package.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we did that, I no longer got HBO because it cost extra due to it now being a part of HBO Max. So I no longer have HBO Max.
Okay.
And I don't really miss it because I've been filling my time with Peacock.
Well, if you ever change your mind, I can just add you to mine.
Okay.
So just let me know.
Okay.
But anyways, our story here is unfortunately about some changes on a corporate level that they've had to make with HBO Max as it continues on. WarnerMedia, which AT&T bought for $109 billion back in 2018, will be cutting thousands of jobs behind the scenes. The company issued a statement to the media saying that business will be organized to, quote, prioritize growth opportunities, unquote, with emphasis on direct-to-consumer. Hey,
it sounds a lot like Disney.
That's exactly what Disney said. It will involve increased investments in priority areas and, unfortunately, reductions in others, they said. This means HBO Max is the centerpiece of AT&T's grand bet on content. Again, just like what Disney is doing. However, AT&T has reported HBO Max subscriber numbers only once when the service had a 4.1 million subscribers after about a month of service. So it's been available for more than that, as you might guess. And we don't know how much the growth has increased or decreased over that course of time. This was after HBO Max had automatically signed up the 23.6 million customers who already get HBO through their pay TV providers. But only 5% of those people had actually downloaded the app itself.
And how much is 5% of 23.6 million?
That's thousands of people, as you might guess.
It's literally 1 million.
1 million people. So about 3 million subscribers, though, besides that, signed up on their own for the service. AT&T will report third quarter earnings on October 22nd, when it will presumably update HBO Max's subscriber count. The new mass layoffs and redirection of investment are a direct result of course, Disney Plus and Netflix growing their subscriber base during the pandemic. So they're making a huge, basically the bottom line of the story is they're making a huge bet on HBO Max to continue growing, though we have evidence that suggests that maybe the growth is not as big as they want it to be.
Right, and just like Disney did with Marvel and Warner Brothers did with DC, they will once again be playing catch up to Disney.
Yes. I can imagine this being a big story if they do say after the 22nd, yeah, this thing is, we're not growing. We're stagnant on our existing subscriber base. What do we need to do? And then what do? Do they put in a bunch of grab a bunch of creators, get a bunch of new content to try to make original content the play, or do they do something drastic to the service? I don't know. What do you do in this situation?
I say you take down that dartboard that has a picture of Mickey Mouse's face that you just keep throwing darts at constantly. And you need actual content people want to actually watch.
Yeah. I think that your comparison that you made to Peacock is, I think, a good one to make, because I would also love to see how that's doing, especially with that also having the free arm and people not even having to pay for that one. I'm very curious about how those two services stack up to each other, because I don't know. I feel like NBC, Universal had a lot more creative ideas behind the Peacock project than HBO Max seems to do behind theirs.
I also think NBC had a lot of content that people actually wanted to go back and watch.
Yeah.
Unlike HBO. Looking at you, Game of Thrones.
Then, of course, the unspoken rival here is the soon-to-relaunch Paramount Plus, which will take the existing CBS All Access and add a bunch of other Viacom CBS properties to it. And so that's kind of the other question mark here, is how is that going to stack up when that launches later this year?
I am partially surprised WarnerMedia has not already at least put a passing bid into Paramount. But Viacom CBS may not want to give up that jewel so quickly.
No. I think that they're going to try to be a fourth competitor here. I think you're going to see our new world is, which one is this on? Oh, is it on Paramount? Is it on Peacock or HBO or Disney? I don't remember. It's going to be that game.
Right.
Just constantly. All right. Let's move on to our second story here, which is about the continued existence of virtual conventions, because we've already talked about Comic-Con proper in San Diego, but what about the many other comic conventions that happen throughout?
Well, we talked about DC Fandom.
That too. Well, now we're talking about New York Comic-Con, traditionally the second biggest after San Diego's. In place of their physical event, organizers ReedPop launched the online metaverse.
In order to try and be meta.
Yes, very meta, which would bring together events online from both New York Comic-Con and the MCM London Comic-Con. Metaverse offered us our first proper look at Hulu's Animaniacs reboot, which is already slated for November, so next month.
Yep, this was their Jurassic Park reboot, remake, rip, poking fun at, as they reanimated the Warner Brothers and the Warner sister Dot. And it's up right now on Hulu's YouTube channel, and it looks funny.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what they do with new Animaniacs. I think there's a lot of stuff that you can do with that format now.
Considering they will now have 20 plus years of pop culture to cover, there's a lot to cover.
A lot to cover. Also coming to Hulu is MODOK, of course, based on the Marvel villain, voiced by, surprise Patton Oswalt.
I love me a surprise Patton Oswalt.
I know you do, as one of several adult animations based on Marvel properties that were announced a few years ago, but are just now finally getting release dates. This also includes the Howard the Duck adaptation that was also announced years ago that disappeared into development hell. Well, now it's good to know that these things finally are going to be released.
Right. Because, it just takes a long time to do animation.
Well, that's what I had thought, but then I had read up on it. Apparently, the Howard the Duck show has been in the can for about a year and a half. They had written all the scripts and had produced it, and just Hulu was dragging their feet. So now, finally, that Hulu has finally said, "No, we're doing it. We're actually doing these shows." So,
well, they probably start for content.
Yes,
hey.
That might be why. Amazon Prime is getting into the adult comic-based animation world as well with Invincible, the adaptation of the comic series by The Walking Dead's creator Robert Kirkman. In the weekend of its European premiere, Cartoon Saloon's Tom Moore and Ross Stewart previewed their eagerly anticipated feature Wolf Walkers. Also, the team behind Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beast gave fans a preview of the final season of the show, which is already out. It came out on Friday on Netflix. I have already seen the first 2 episodes of this final season. Good so far. And then animated shows Archer and Primal also had their sneak peeks for what's coming to those shows on Adult Swim and FX.
Right. So, Archer is currently running, so it gave a preview of what's happening the following season. And Primal, I think, starts up later this month.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of stuff happening in animation and comics. So that's pretty exciting. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Animaniacs. I'm looking forward to finishing Kipo. Kind of sad that this is it for the show, but I definitely want to know how they wrap up the story. So yeah, this is exciting news pretty much overall.
Yep, it sounds good. I'm liking everything that came out of New York Comic Con.
Yeah. Even if it's virtual.
Even virtual.
All right. Thoughts time. We watched the television. You watched a couple of things.
Yes. Let me get the first thing out of the way because I dropped the hint at it and it's really easy. So like I said, I was going to watch a movie on Netflix. I was scrolling through it and I was like, do I really want to watch a movie right now? Or do I want to just put something on TV?
Do I want to watch a movie or do I want to watch people barbecue shit?
Oh, I watch people barbecue shit.
Sounds like
the American BBQ Showdown is the newest competition on Netflix.
All right.
Where it takes pit masters, more specifically smoke masters.
Oh,
wrong pit.
Different kind of pit.
Smoke, and different kind of smoke because these are smoky barbecue pit masters going up against each other in what seems to be socially distanced barbecue event. Almost as if they filmed it recently, and
I wonder.
Under COVID restrictions.
I mean, they even shot the most recent British Bake Off show in COVID restrictions. So yeah, shows are doing it.
Yeah. I'm just making that note because it is interesting to see that them doing this completely outdoors, which you kind of have to for a smoking event.
Yeah.
Smoke inside, which is smart to do in a pivot. But everything they make looks so good and so delicious. Just makes me want to look up some barbecue joints around here and go get some.
I'm sure they do some pickup over here.
Oh, I'm sure they do. But I mean, other than Stonefire Grill, I want actual Texas and Southern style barbecue because that's all they have. I mean, that seems like all their characters are filmed in Georgia.
I mean, there's Lucille's, Dickies, Wood Ranch. There's options.
Oh, that's right. I have $100 to Lucille's to use.
There you go.
Gift card.
That's all. There, problem solved right there. Get some apple butter biscuits.
So last year at Christmas party, there were two $50 Lucille's gift certificates being passed around. Doing the traditional, third time is a freeze. Yeah. So I plotted as they were going to make sure that I got one to hold while my wife got the other one. So we got both $100, both $50.
See, the only problem right now that I've ran into with pandemic gift cards is that the gift cards are for direct to the establishment. That sucks if you want to do delivery, or because the delivery is always through a third party. It's never direct. So
unless the establishment does direct delivery.
Unless they do direct delivery. So you got to check before you do that, because I have a $50 PF Chang's card that's just gathering dust because I cannot use it right now. I also have a.
You can pick up. You can go pick it up.
Yeah, but again, you'd have to go directly to them. So I'd have to go there, put my order in the establishment, and wait until it's done if I really wanted to do that. Which is not ideal. I also have $25 for AMC theaters, which I have no idea what I'm going to use.
It's okay. I have a round trip to Catalina Island that I may not use this year.
Who knows? Who can say, really? They should just extend to the expiration for all of these things.
Well, from what I found out, as long as you have the gift cards directly from the establishment and not through like a third party or like Groupon, they will honor it. Like there's no, won't put an expiration date on it.
Generally speaking.
Generally speaking.
Sorry. Anyways, we're talking about American BBQ Showdown.
Oh yeah, that's the reason I started with this first, because it's barbecue and it's delicious and it makes me hungry when I watch it.
And that's it. That's
all you can really ask for in a show that's about cooking is, do they make something look so mouthwatering that you really want it? And they do a good job of it.
Yeah, no, sounds amazing.
I know what I want going. I know what I'm going to get out of it going into it, and it can't deliver. Not like can it deliver the food to me, but does it deliver? I was
going to say, you wish it could deliver to you.
I wish they could deliver to me Willy Wonka style, just reach to the TV and grab it.
Delicious. If only. Maybe that technology will happen someday.
Some billionaire Willy Wonka will invent it, maybe. Possibly.
Yes. Someday.
Just gotta sacrifice some kids first.
I don't know. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
You also finished, as you've been talking about the last couple of weeks, finished The Boys on Amazon.
Yes, as I alluded to in last week's podcast, which you can now check out on Spotify.
Yes, we mentioned that.
Yes. That I will be finishing up The Boys this upcoming week.
Yes.
And so it's done. The series, season 2 as wrapped, and I eagerly await season 3 and where they're going to go. Real briefly here, give me my thoughts on it. Season 2 is all about family. What makes a family? Can you repair a broken family? If a family is built on lies, how does that affect those familial relations? When everything you know is a lie and the walls come crumbling down, do you respect those people who built those walls? What do you do? How do you approach that? And where do you find that solace and comfort of a family that you're looking for?
How does this compare? So a lot of these plot points you're mentioning right now remind me of kind of what you were talking about with The Last of Us Part 2. Does it kind of cover similar ground?
It covers some ground, but whereas Last of Us Part 2 felt more about revenge against those people who wronged your family.
Yeah.
This does tend to go there, but not so much action and blood, but rather the action and blood kind of just happens along with it. And boy, is there a lot of action and blood with it.
Because I was going to say, like, as far as I know, the show is pretty gory. So.
Oh, it is gory. There's, I mean, one of the plot points is that characters' heads will just explode and blood goes everywhere.
Yeah. Which
does provide a surprising twist on how they did that.
Oh, okay. Spoiler.
No, not spoiler, but also spoiler. Not spoiler. Spoiler, maybe. But yeah, I'd say this kind of trends more into the past season where I was talking about F is for Family, where where in F is for Family, when your family broke down, where do you seek other people to kind of build those familial walls? I saw that in here in The Boys season 2, where people and characters try to find family resemblance within one another characters.
I see.
Except in a less comedic and overt purpose. And
completely different genre.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah,
completely different genre, but same themes of family.
But yeah, you enjoy that show? Still working for you? This kind
Oh
of
no.
alternative take on a superhero story.
Yes, I like it, but I am still very weary of it because of all the what feels like unnecessary bloodshed.
Yeah,
But that is kind of their gimmick to get you to
it's what
continue
they do.
watching. It's what they
It's their
do.
thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's basically what I've heard. It seems like even the people who enjoy the show are just like, yeah, it's not all necessary. Like the violence isn't super necessary. It's just like window dressing for the actual plot that it's trying to, the actual story that's trying to say.
Right.
Okay.
It's fine. But you also watched the show.
Oh, yeah, I did. In fact,
because you alluded to last week as well that you were finishing up a show.
I finally caught up all the way, finished all 10 episodes of Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus. And I truly think that I hope this thing does not get slept on because it is one of the better comedies I've seen in a long, long time. I think it nailed the landing, and I think that from start to finish, there is some great stuff in this show. I think like the combination of really great joke writing with really likable and well-written characters and actual emotional like heart, like puts it up there for me with like a lot of the stuff that The Good Place was doing. It's like that level of quality, which I did not expect going in. They managed to finish up the season by like really endearing you to everyone. Like everyone is super, super likable in the show. You care about the relationships between these characters as they kind of go in and out of each other's lives. And they manage even the finale to make the sports stuff interesting. So the thing is for the most part, the soccer has been actually kind of like the gore and the boys window dressing for these stories about the characters that are in the team. But by the time with the finale happens, it makes you care about the fate of the franchise. It makes you care about the final game that the football team, football team. See, I've watched too much of the show. The soccer team has to play to win or lose, and that to decide their future in the league. And it's really, really well done. It like for somebody who's not like, you know, sports movies, sports television shows, they're fine, but I've never been like really into it. It made me care, and it made me really interested in the fate of the team. So it, like I said, it nailed the landing. I think the finale was really, really surprisingly good. The episode going into the finale also straight up could be their Emmy submission. It's that good. I think that top to bottom, the show is stellar. I think that it's going to get slept on because a lot of people don't have access to Apple TV Plus. But come Emmy time next year, I mean, that's a long time in the future because the Emmys just happened. But I think that this is something I hope that gets looked at because it's definitely going to be on my top 5 for the year. I really, really enjoyed Ted Lasso.
Do you think Jason Sudeikis gets more roles because of this?
I definitely think it opens him up to a lot of opportunities because he has a surprisingly dramatic turn in this thing. From the beginning, you're thinking, okay, this is just funny, like Jason Sudeikis-y role for him to play, which is just like a super positive, goofy dude. But they do, like I said, there is an emotional heart to this show that does let him kind of explore different versions of that character as the show goes on, especially towards the end. There is a dramatic turn. There is some real deep stuff that they do to try to tackle with the character that I, again, did not expect going into this thing. It does that Netflix style pivot towards the end of the season where you're like, oh, this stuff is going serious, which is something you can do now in the streaming era, and something you see a lot in the streaming era is like episodes 1 through 7 are all fun and games, but episode 8 through 10 shit goes down. And this is one of those examples where it definitely does go down. I really enjoyed this thing. I think like I keep saying, I think you would really enjoy this because it's sports, it's comedy, but it's also prestige-y. It's kind of 3 things mixed up into one, which is really good.
Right, which I mentioned that once I'm able to broadcast it to an Xbox or a PlayStation, I'll be able to watch it.
In the meantime, though, I should probably just give you my login so you can watch it in a browser because I really do think you need to watch this.
Okay. We'll talk about that post-podcast.
Yeah, it's digestible. It's only 10 episodes for the first season. They're not that long. They're about 30 minutes per. And the tone, even though it does get serious, the tone is light enough through most of it that it's a pretty breezy watch.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, it's great. I really, really, really enjoyed my time with it. Just real quick, as I mentioned, I also Kipo season 3, the final season, is now available on Netflix. So that is out now if that's something that you have been watching and you want to finish up. So I'll talk more about that when I finish it very soon.
And lastly, in TV, we mentioned last week that Morgan Wallen was not the musical guest for SNL this past week. Well, they were able to pivot with 2 days' notice to Jack White.
Yeah, Jack White ended up being on there.
Yep.
Did you watch that?
I did. Well, because Bill Burr is a prominent comedian.
Yeah, I heard some things about his parents.
I liked it. I thought it was funny.
Okay. Okay, so they're still doing it.
Yep. And everyone still got paid in that audience.
Love a gift card. All right. Let's talk about cancellations and renewals. Why don't we?
What am I no longer watching?
You're no longer watching On Becoming a God in Central Florida, as after one season that's been canceled over at Showtime.
It did get announced for a second season, but not filming, not pre-production, canceled.
Yep. Apple TV Plus is bringing back Dickinson for a third season. Netflix has canceled The Magic Order before it even premiered.
Yep.
That's a big goose egg.
Zero seasons.
That's the first time I think you've done that.
No, I think I did that before. When Netflix canceled something before it got started.
Yeah. And this one's not a cancellation, but instead a reload. Grease, Rise of the Pink Ladies, of course, based on Grease, is getting moved from HBO Max over to Paramount Plus.
That was originally titled Grease, Rydell High.
Oh.
And got renamed to Rise of the Pink Ladies.
Yeah.
Because not enough things are rising anymore.
No, I agree. More things are rising. Next up, we have deaths. Just a few ones here this week, or just two actually. Whitey Ford, age 91, if that name sounds familiar to you. He's a Hall of Fame baseball player. Played for the Yankees, won the Cy Young Award in 1961. World Series champion on that team 1950, 53, 56, 58, 61, 62, back the first time when the Yankees were dominant in the league.
Second time they were dominant in the league.
Sorry, second time they were dominant.
You forget, first time was back in the 1920s when there were only 6 teams in baseball.
Before my time.
Anyways, yes, Whitey Ford, amazing pitcher, well-known pitcher, 91 years.
That's a long time to live.
Oh, yeah.
Then next up, Conchata Ferrell, age 77. Actress in 2.5 Men, Edward Scissorhands, Network, and Mr. Deeds, among other roles. So there you go.
Emmy-nominated actress for her supporting actress role in 2.5 Men.
There you go. All right, that does it for television. That means I toss this over to you and we talk about some music.
And we always start music with the Billboard. And we start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And your hottest song in the land is Savage Love, Laxed Siren Beat by Jawish 685
Jawish.
Jason Derulo x BTS.
So this is a remix of the song Savage Love. Laxed Siren Beat is, I believe, the name of the remix version. And yes, this probably became your #1 song thanks to the power of BTS.
And solely on BTS because they have an army behind them.
But I do love the name Josh because it makes me imagine Goofy saying the name Josh. That's how he would say it. Josh.
Well, especially since GIF is now GIF. Or GIF is now GIF. This is now Gosh.
Gosh. Anyways.
Gosh, Aura.
But we're not done with BTS on this list.
No, as they are the #2 song as well. Dropping down from #1 last week, Dynamite for BTS.
I've heard this finally, and it's fine. I don't love it. it's okay as K-pop songs go. I've heard better.
But it's a K-pop song, so it's
It
dynamite.
is it is entirely in English, which is interesting. But yeah, it's not their best. It's not the best BTS song I've ever heard.
At number 3 is WAP.
Still
Weird
there.
Al Personality.
Sure.
By Cardi B featuring Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay.
And number 4, Mood by 24 Karat Golden featuring Ian Dior.
Yeah.
You dropped that E, I'm dropping the E.
I did find out that is a TikTok thing. I had that confirmed to me over this past week.
Okay. And at number 5, Laugh Now, Cry Later by Drake featuring Lil Durk.
Lil Durk.
And not listed here, but want to make a note of it, Dreams.
Yeah.
Speaking of TikTok songs,
Yes.
Dreams by Fleetwood Mac
yes.
made the top 100.
Thanks to that dude. Yes, thanks to the skateboarding dude with the ocean spray. Yes. You can, yeah.
I still don't get it.
It's funny. I don't know. He's vibing.
I don't get it.
He's just vibing. There's nothing to get. He's just having a good day. Just listening to Fleetwood Mac.
I was waiting for something to happen, and then nothing happened.
No, that's it. That's all there is to it. He's just vibing.
Maybe I don't vibe enough to understand it.
you just aren't. You're not feeling it. You just need to be like that guy. Grow out a mustache like him, and.
No, I'm halfway there.
Yeah, you're getting there. All right.
All right. Anyways, let's move on to the Billboard 200, your albums chart. At number 1, Savage Mode 2 by 21 Savage and Metro Boomin.
Yeah.
At number 2, The Album by Blackpink.
Yep.
I think that's its debut there.
Yes. All of these are debuts this week, except for the Pop Smoke record at number 3.
Because at number 3, it's Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon by Pop Smoke.
Yes.
At number 4, My Life 400 by YG. And at number 5, ANNIBERSERY by Bryson Tiller.
That's anniversary, but spaced out between every letter.
Which is why you have to spell it out.
Yes.
Like bananas.
Just like bananas.
Yes, exactly like bananas.
Yeah, but what if I don't want to listen to any of that?
Well, if you don't listen to any of that, we have new releases.
Hey!
We have The Hustle Continues by Juicy J.
Yeah, yes. That Juicy J.
That Juicy J?
Yeah, he's still around. What else he's doing?
I don't know. Trying to distance from Katy Perry, I guess. Anyways, that's the last I heard of Juicy J.
Yeah, same actually.
We also have Away Is Mine by Gord Downey.
That's a posthumous release. He passed away.
Speaking of things that passed away, Disco 4, : Part 1.
Yes, I don't understand that name either.
By Health.
That's all caps.
It's all caps, but Health.
Health.
We also have Sundowner by Kevin Morby. Metamorphosed by OCs.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting Grass, Volume 1, The Butcher Shop Sessions by Sturgill Simpson. That is a country album.
Yes.
Cutting Grass is a country album.
I mean, as much as you can call Sturgill Simpson a country artist, he's more like an alternative country artist.
Right.
But yeah, an eclectic mix of releases this week.
A little something for everybody.
Yeah, we say that a lot, but especially this week.
Yep. So are you going to listen to any of these?
No. No, I'm not.
Not everybody then.
Anyways,
let's get into some music news.
2 follow-up stories this week in music.
Oh, I love me some follow-up stories, especially when they involve the Chainsmokers. So, a rep for the New York State Department of Health has walked back a comment from Governor Andrew Cuomo in which he stated that the promoter of a controversial, non-socially distanced Chainsmoker concert that was held in the Hamptons in New York over the summer will be fined $20,000 for violating public health law. The rep clarifies that the department, quote, has charged in the No Experiences.
In the No Experiences, which is the name of this company.
Has charged in the No Experiences.
Yeah.
The concert promoter involved in the July concert in Southampton, featuring the band, the Chainsmokers, with violating the public health law and is seeking $20,000 in fines for holding a non-essential gathering and failure to enforce mask wearing. Now, we talked about this. Yes. We said this was dumb. We said this was stupid. Who's going to pay to go to a Chainsmokers at this time?
And yet they did it, and yet people went. And sure enough, they're getting fined for it, as they should. Makes sense.
Yes, but, you know, I think the Chainsmokers can afford $20,000.
Well, it's not the Chainsmokers. That's
right,
key.
It's not the Chainsmokers.
It's the promoter company, the company that promoted the event, which makes sense because the Chainsmokers were just invited there and they did their job. They showed up and they performed. It's not their responsibility for the
venue to take people distance.
We talked a little bit about this with the Smash Mouth thing as well, where it was only until Smash Mouth dude said something dumb, which is where he actually was the problem. Besides that, it's the promotion, it's the existence of the event, and who put the event on is the main problem, because they need to be wrangling the people. They need to make sure that the attendees are following precautions. And in both cases, they were not.
Right. I think you will see some events probably hold back because of this. Because I can only assume that this $20,000 is sent as a warning to other venue promoters.
But of course, as we're finding out in October, nearly the 7th month of this pandemic, is that if you want to do any of this stuff, just do it in Florida because there ain't no rules there.
Yep. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Ain't no laws when you're in Florida's clause.
In Florida, okay, all right. You could have just said Florida, but okay.
No law in Florida.
There you go.
So you got to draw the law, except you add the S.
Yeah. Laws in Florida. Anyway.
Yes, I didn't want to go there. But thank you for going there.
Now I want a claw. That sounds good. Anyways,
in other follow-up news.
Yes.
Remember when Megan Thee Stallion was involved in a shooting?
Yes, she was involved in a shooting. That is the correct legal way to say it.
Yes, because Tory Lanez was charged Thursday with assaulting a woman who is obviously Megan Thee Stallion, per information by the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. He faces possible maximum sentence of 22 years and 8 months in prison, according to the announcement. While Megan is not identified by name, all of the other details line up with the July 12th incident in which she is claimed Tory Lanez fired a gun at her as she exited the car in which they had been traveling, resulting in injuries to her feet that required surgery. Quote, the rap artist known as Tory Lanez has been charged and assaulting. I'm an ass for this. Quote, the rap artist known as Tory Lanez has been charged with assaulting a female friend in the Hollywood Hills earlier this year, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office announced today. The announcement reads.
Yeah, so this is just confirmation of what Megan said herself after this event occurred. Whoa! As your camera just falls over.
Yes, I think I said assaulting a little too much there.
Yes, you assaulted your camera. So yeah, this just confirms that Megan was not lying when she was like, no, it was Tory Lanez. He was there. Like, we all knew from the police report that he was there, but he had denied that he was the person who actually did it. Well, sure enough, they've determined that he was the person with the gun. He was the person who shot the gun, and thus is responsible for Megan Thee Stallion's injuries.
Do note that if the district attorney is bringing charges, it usually means that they have enough evidence to a conviction for a conviction.
Yes.
To convicts.
So yeah, it looks like Tory Lanez will be away for at least some time. I don't know if he'll make the maximum, but yes, he will definitely do some jail time for this. And you know what? Probably, feelings about prison aside, I'm glad that he's doing, getting some sort of taking some sort of responsibility for this. But yeah, it sucks to be Megan Thee Stallion, though. I think she's the one hurt most by all this.
Well, at a maximum of 22 years, the earliest he would get out is 2043.
Yeah. Can't imagine he's going to release a lot of albums while he's in there.
Well, not by himself. Anyways, in a last bit of music news, we have to say goodbye to a platform that has brought so many free albums to people.
Sort of.
It was announced this past week that Google Music will be shutting down by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Which means you have to migrate anything that is on there to YouTube Music.
Yes. Google owns both, of course, the existing music service as well as YouTube, so they decided just to put everything under one roof, which they've chosen the YouTube branding over the Google Play brand, which is probably smart because most people probably do go to YouTube for music already. So this is smart in a way, but yes, it is like a good PSA for people. If you do have stuff over on Google Play, you're going to have to migrate.
Yes, you will have to use youtube.music.com/transfer. Specifically that website in order to do it, because if you try to go straight to YouTube Music and say connect, it will not figure it out, because I spent probably 2 hours trying to say, hey, do this, make the connection, I have the account.
Yeah. Not fun.
But it's dumb.
Yeah.
Yep. Someone's at my door.
Someone is at your door, it's true.
Yes, I know exactly who it is, and they're not supposed to be here yet.
How dare
Go away! I don't know if I can even pause a recording. But yes, I can. And we should say rest in peace, Google Music, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah. It was no one. I feel like it was no one's favorite.
I mean, it did get me the Frozen album for free, and the Awesome Mix album for free, and Linkin Park's album for free.
There was a period of time there where, you could reliably get free stuff from it, which was nice. But
yes, but now I have Spotify and YouTube Music, which is semi-free, I guess. I don't know.
You still have to pay for those.
Yeah, but word of PSA, if you have anything on Google Music, like anything owned or anything downloaded, you need to transfer it before the end of the year. Otherwise, it will go away. One of the few things that Google will delete. Apparently.
Yeah. But you also listened to something this week.
Oh, I listened to something this week. And then I wondered why I listened to something this week. Because because as I alluded to last week, I listened to Skeletons, the new album by Brothers Osborne. Mm-hmm. And I forgot that I only really like one song from Brothers Osborne.
Yeah.
And with this album, none of them sounded like that one song. So I was like, wait, why do I like Brothers Osborne? Do I like Brothers Osborne? This sounds nothing like I would think of Brothers Osborne. And so I realized that, no, it was probably just the one song that I liked, and I just really don't like Brothers Osborne that much.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, I'm just going to keep that short. I didn't like it. It's fine as a country album, but I was expecting like a country hard rock album.
And it was not.
I did not get that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a skip.
It's a skip for me because it didn't hit what I was looking for. And I think it seems very middling of the road of just a regular country album. So they better hit hard with a third album because That's not going to cut it in the country music world.
Yeah, you hear that, Brothers Osborne? You're on notice.
Yeah.
This is a warning. Next time, third strike, you're out.
Next time, bring it. Next time, bring in bonus brother. Bonus Osborne.
What's the bonus Jonas doing? You can borrow him.
Anyways, let's move right along to our last category as we wrap things up.
Yes.
So smoothly into video games.
Let's talk about.
We start with upcoming new releases, including Age of Empires 3, Definitive Edition for the PC.
Yep. They finally done it. They finished converting all of the Age of Empires games. The ones that people care about. I actually don't know if they made a 4. They may have made a 4.
I assume they just constantly make those out. Just pump them out like Ubisoft. We also have Amnesia, Rebirth for the PlayStation and PC. NHL 21 for the PlayStation and Xbox. It's
hockey time.
Season. It's hockey time. It's hockey just ended.
Hockey's over, but you can still play hockey.
Yep. We also have Mario Kart Live, Home Circuit for the Switch. This is the RC go-kart on your Switch game.
Yes, this is the one that comes with one cart, $100.
Yep. And lastly, the game I'll be picking up this week, the game most people will be picking up this week, the game I'm just going to call one of Game of Our Years, maybe.
Already calling it.
Already calling it shot. Jackbox Party Pack 7 for the PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, and PC.
More Jackbox games.
Yes, and this one has Quiplash 3, which we talked about last week, which is why I'm probably going to get it and probably going to play a lot of it.
Yeah, it looks like a good package this year.
Yep. Oh, it's definitely a good package. A good Jackbox package.
I don't want to think about your package. Moving on.
Okay, let's get into some video game news then.
Just a couple of quickies.
Little quickies. As Rockstar Games, yes, those Rockstar Games, has bought another studio into its ever-growing family. And this time in the form of Crackdown 2 developer Ruffian Games. The news was announced via a press release from Rockstar's parent company, Take-Two Interactive, which also confirmed that the Crackdown 2 developer will now operate under the name Rockstar Dundee. The 40-person team is based out of Dundee, Scotland. In the statement, Rockstar founder Sam Houser said that, quote, "The Ruffian team are a talented addition to Rockstar's global studios, and we look forward to working together on future projects." Good pickup.
They haven't done a whole lot of stuff since Crackdown 2, which is why I think it's really funny that that's what they cite here. That game is almost a decade old.
It's so old. Crackdown 3 was delayed, canceled, came back, released, forgot about.
Yep, pretty much. But this makes sense as a buy for them because they're local. Rockstar North is also a Scottish studio. So it would make sense that they would just gobble them up, just be like, hey, you guys are us now.
Sweet. Do you think they put them on the next GTA game?
I mean, it depends on what the next GTA game is, right? Like, I could see them doing support work. They have experience doing open world games. So it could definitely be a nice extra addition to work on open world stuff for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
This will be an interesting move for Ruffian Games.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. And lastly, in video game news, something that's close to ours, Media Boat's minds right now.
We'll get there.
Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
The game we talked about last week.
Yeah, people are asking some questions about what it might look like on next generation platforms.
Well, maybe, because Genshin Impact's next gen plans don't include Xbox Series X, at least for now.
Yeah.
In an interview with IGN Japan, a MiHoYo, that's the company, spokesperson, detailed how Genshin Impact in its current state is just the beginning of the game's post-launch content roadmap. Quote, "We will continue developing even more content and gameplay while also releasing updates and optimizations. So the product that goes online isn't the final version, but rather the first step. Those upgrades will expand the world of Genshin Impact by adding new characters to the current 20 count roster and will as well as new missions specific to characters, a third city, in addition to Mondstadt and Liu, and new side quests. So this free game is getting expansions.
Yeah, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and have more stuff in it that you have to roll for with currency. But besides that, there's going to be more. But the big question is, why isn't there an Xbox version of this thing? I mean, it is kind of a strange omission.
Well, like we said, it's on mobile.
Yeah,
and it's on
mobile
the
PC,
PS4.
PS4.
Well, if it's on the PC, it should be available to the Xbox, you would think.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. It seems like a weird omission. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they are just waiting for Series X for this, or Series S/X.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just weird that it's not on there. But it's cool that they're going to continue building it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice
Speaking of,
we're going to talk a little bit more about Genshin Impact.
So yeah, I talked about it last week. Talked about my experience.
Yes, you talked it up last week.
My experience up until about maybe adventure level like 15. So I'm at adventure level 20 now.
Okay.
And I understand that you have given it a try.
Yes, I have.
All right.
Wait, who told you?
Yeah, I think you texted me about it off pod. So tell me how your experience with the game has been so far.
I am also around level 20.
Wow, you went fast.
Wait, no, I'm at past 16 because I can do co-op now.
Okay, cool.
I think I'm at 18.
We'll have to try that sometime this weekend or something.
Right, so I'm at 18. And you are spot on with your thoughts last week. It is definitely Breath of the Wild-esque in a very anime style setting.
But then with like a bunch of other stuff like piled on top of it.
Yeah, I was playing this with the doctor watching, and she was surprised that, wow, all this is free content? I'm like, yeah, it's just a free game. And it keeps going.
It's intimidating. It's kind of like when you jump into Destiny free to play and you never played it before. There's actually surprisingly a lot to do. And this probably even has more than Destiny does.
Right. I mean, I just keep doing the side quests and the open world quests. I'm right now able to go to, I have Geo, I think, unlocked. And so I'm on my way to the next statue because I completed everything there. Just kind of slowly working my way down. I did see you unlocked more characters than I did because I'm still stuck at 4.
Yeah, I ended up enrolling and getting a couple of the really good characters. I also got, as part of an event, I got the idol character Barbara. So she was completely free to me. They just gave her to me. So yeah, I'm sitting on about 6 or 7 characters now.
Okay, I'm still stuck with the base 4. I haven't rolled for anything yet.
The game really opens up once you start. I mean, I would actually recommend just doing some rolls. Do the one that's 8 for 10 because you get some of that currency just given to you. Don't worry about spending it. Like, trust me. Like, you're gonna get stuff that you're gonna use, like characters, if you just throw some primogems at it. So
the one I'm looking at getting is probably Venti because you can just create a whirlwind immediately.
Venti's pretty rad. I don't have Venti, but I played Venti in the demo thing that they let you play Venti in. And he seems all right, but like I already have a bow character that I really, really like. Well, I was playing Amber a lot really at the beginning because I like bow and arrows. I like ranged characters. But then when I got this character named Fischl, yes, like Danielle Fischl, except without the E. She's like this German girl with a bird, and her special is she throws her bird out, and the bird like does like damage while you're also back with your bow shooting electric bow shots. So I've really gotten to like her character. So I'm like, do I need another bow like ranged character? No, not really. So I'm not really super hyped on getting Venti, but I'll get him eventually.
Yeah, I did the same thing I always do, which is I hoard everything and then level
Yes.
everyone up like 7, 8 levels at a time.
That's what I did until I was about adventure rank, like probably where you're at right now. Then I started doing my rolls, and then I started doing just leveling everybody up to 20 to get them to ascend.
Oh, I ascended everybody already, except for
Okay.
the witch, because I'm missing like those red orbs or whatever.
Oh, Lisa. Yeah, Lisa's not. I didn't like Lisa. I don't like her powers.
I only like her for the element. That's it.
Again, that's why Fischl is great, because she has the electricity and she's bow and arrow.
Ah,
So
okay. That would
she's
work
old.
great for me then. That's what I'm
Exactly,
looking
yeah. That's
for.
why Fischl's my favorite right now. I'm pretty much rolling with her most of the time. And then I've got the spear lady who's fire, so I've replaced Amber completely. I don't need Amber anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have the main character. I like her wind abilities. I haven't actually unlocked the Geo for her.
It's the statue. You just have to talk with the statue, and then you switch it.
Yeah, I guess I haven't done that yet. Is it a quest? Because I haven't gotten.
No. You just go to the Geo statue.
Oh.
When you talk to it, it's not the first. The first option is to like give it the stones or whatever. Right below it, you switch it out to the.
That's what that does. Okay, I did find that thing, and I saw that it was like interact with, because one of the side characters like leads you there, and like tries to explain it, and I was just like I glossed over when he was trying to.
Yeah, so it takes over your wind ability. It's not like you keep both.
Right, replaces.
It gives you the earth ability, but you can go back to the wind statue and get your wind ability back.
Okay, I'm probably not going to do that because I have a Geo character already. I have this heavy sword lady named Noelle, but I don't know. I might check it out just to unlock that. But yeah, where I'm at right now is, so I'm on the precipice. I just need 2 more adventure levels to get to the next world, to Liu. I'm about to go to Liu. And so pretty much all of my missions are over there, and I can't do any of them until I unlock the one big story mission that lets me in there. Except I have to get to 23 to do that. So I need 2 whole more levels, which is I think my least favorite thing about the game so far, is when it locks your progress. It does the thing that, did you ever play Saints Row 1 or 2?
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, you can't do another story mission until you get to a certain thing. It does that thing, and I hate it. Because I run out of stuff to do.
I hit that because I finished all the quests at like 12, and it said you could be 16 to do the next thing.
That was the first time I had.
Yeah, I was like, okay. I just went and explored more of the land, just opened more of the chests, and that did it.
Yeah, it does. It does it eventually. It just takes so long because the only good way to raise those levels is by doing quests. So if you use,
but if you run out of quests to do,
there's only so many treasure chests you can find. And yes, the common chests regenerate every day, but it's still not enough, like, to really raise that thing. And you can find the items in the world that'll do like 150 to 250 like per at the statues, but they're just not that, like, I don't find them all the time. I don't know where most of them are, and I'm not going to look it up. So what I was really happy with is when they introduced the daily missions, because as soon as that, I was like, okay, thank God I have something to do when I log back in. So that's nice of them to do that.
Yeah, that is nice. It also gives you a reason to log back in.
Yeah, and I do recommend going, if you do run out of missions, one cool thing I found out, just walk around the town in Mondstadt and talk to everybody. And every once in a while, somebody will have a quest for you. Like
you can do that in both cities. I've walked around and seen people in the city where the Geo statue is, just give out random quests.
And I just got a random one just last time at the end of my last session at the winery too. Like behind the winery, like there were just some people chatting, and they were like, one of them gave me a mission. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm still having a lot of fun with that thing. I'm really excited to see the next location, because from what I hear on the internet is it's even better once you unlock the second place. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm ready.
Right, and I mean, the thing that is, this game is free, and there's so much to do for a free game.
Yeah, I still haven't spent any money, but honestly, I'm thinking about it, and not because I want to roll a lot of stuff, But I'm thinking about, like, I just want to give money to these developers because they made something that I would have been happy to spend $60 on.
Right.
And this is a year where I spent $60 on Last of Us Part 2 and immediately regretted it. So, like, if that's, it also kind of almost feeling bad about Mario Collection, too, where I've played so little of that now. I'm like, I spent $60 on that, too. And I'm playing this free thing way more than either of them.
Right.
So I'm like, I didn't really spend my money wisely this year. But here we are. That's video games in 2020 for you.
And the free stuff's better than the paid stuff, apparently.
But yeah, do you think you're going to stick with it? Do you think you're going to play more of it?
I will definitely stick with it because unlike games that I have been playing in the past, like Kingdom Hearts or like Borderlands 3 or any of the Call of Duty alphas, that this is more relaxful and peaceful. And the attacks or the
like the combat
encounters, the combat is few and far between, but just between enough to where if I seek it out, I can get attack with enough time to relax between the big boss counters. Yeah,
I have noticed that, is that the enemy distribution is never overwhelming. It's never something you can't handle. They're always in groups of 3 or 4, and you can get it done, and then it takes a few minutes to find another enemy group, which is great. Because and then you start remembering, oh, there's a camp over here with these dudes. I know there's one of those big guys over there, so I'm going to stand back. I'm going to shoot a few arrows that way. Maybe I'm going to bring in my water idol and make them have the wet effect, so that way my electricity does more damage. It's really good setup for these little combat puzzles. And I think if there were more enemies than there are, I think it wouldn't be as fun. I think you're right. I think there's a balance. There's a balance to it, so that way you can engage when you want to engage.
Right, and I think the levels are appropriately leveled each time you encounter them.
So I was really happy, actually. So at first, when the game just warned me just now, because it was like when I got to adventure level 20, it's like your world level has also gone up. And apparently when that happens, everybody is pumped up by 10 levels. So there's no more level 1s, level 4s now in my world. Everybody is minimum level 10. Okay. So at first I was like, oh, that's not great, because what if I want to what if I want to level somebody up organically from 1? They're not going to have a good time. But then in actual practice, I'm not using any of those other characters that are still level 1, so I haven't really encountered it.
Oh, I've abandoned organic leveling up and just straight doing the scrolls.
The books. I think the game wants you to do that, because I was initially like, I'm not going to do that. But then I've basically learned, oh, there's no penalty. Because the thing about that I've been trained to do in other RPGs, like say Pokemon, is that the automatic leveling is always bad because your stats aren't as good. In this game, though, the stats are as identical if you level up normally or if you level up from the scrolls, so you might as well use the scrolls. Is kind of what
Well, see, I leveled up to where 19, so I can still get the level experience, because that's what I don't want to go to waste. And then I realized, oh wait, I can ascend. So everyone ascend past 20, and I can just still use them.
Yeah. So I think my highest, Fischl's at 38. I think everybody else is hovering around 20. I just haven't touched both scrolls since.
Yeah.
So
I got everyone about 26.
Okay.
But just because I rolled the same 4 and keep them all even. But if I'm going to roll for new people, I think,
Yeah, I use Fischl so much that I kind of have been ignoring everybody else, which is not great. I just like the ranged combat in this game a lot more than the up close and personal stuff. It's just not as fun to me. Whereas I really enjoy shooting from a distance and getting headshots.
Yeah, I've been using a lot of the magic, just magic, switch character, magic, switch character, magic, switch character, magic, switch character, pound, 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 pound. Because by then they're at least halfway done.
Yeah, the spear lady I have is a really cool special where it's just their spear turns in a circle, flaming circle around her constantly, and sets everybody on fire, and it's pretty rad.
Very nice.
Anything else you want to say about your experience with it before we wrap up here?
With Genshin Impact, I just love that it's free and there's just so much to do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to them saying what they're going to be working on and adding to it.
It will be interesting to see when we do co-op.
Yes.
How that works.
Yeah, I want to know. I wonder if that works. If we have the same people on our team, are there potential duplicates? Like, how does that work?
I
Like,
think they just both show up there, but it is smart that they do it through the Genshin ID rather
yeah,
than a common ID.
yeah, that's smart
Yeah.
because it would suck if it was blocked to just PlayStation users for you. But I'm glad that we can
Yeah,
hopefully try that out. So yeah, maybe we'll try that out over the weekend.
maybe.
Real quick, before we wrap up video games, though, I want to mention one thing that is up your alley, and I'm sure you've already seen this today, but might as well tell our podcast audience. There is a demo for Kingdom Hearts Memory of Music of Memory. What the hell is
Memory of
that game called?
Melody. I was just
Memory of
about to
Melody.
bring that up.
That's on comes out on tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow,
Yes, it comes out tomorrow unless you have your PlayStation set to Australia time.
which I do not.
Then it is currently out and available for you.
But yeah, this is cool. So I've been interested in this one because I like rhythm games. So
Yes.
maybe we'll both have something to say about that demo next week.
It is a free demo for PS4 and for the Xbox.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a free demo for the Switch, but it's not released yet.
Okay.
But for PlayStation and Xbox, if you want the free demo to try and play it, I've been watching people play it and following and just having my controller here, watching it, playing it. Like, oh, I'm playing it.
Yeah, you're practicing.
And from that experience, I think they kind of nailed the rhythm game in this.
Yeah, seems good.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to giving it a try.
Like I said, as someone who likes the Kingdom Hearts music, I think one of the best aspects of those games, this game is definitely up my alley, and I will definitely be picking this up.
They basically made it for you. Let's be real.
They made it for me and for everyone else who likes their world concerts that they do.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, the game is free. Try it out because the gameplay is so different from a traditional Kingdom Hearts game that I'm glad they made this a free demo for people to at least get a taste and what they want.
Yeah. Okay. Playing anything else or?
Nope. I've been playing more Hades when I get around to it. Yep. And I think that is it for us then.
Cool. Payday is tomorrow, so I'm planning on getting Hades and playing some this weekend. So.
Okay.
All right, then let's wrap this place up. Then.
All right then.
Yes.
Log away.
Yes, thank you for joining us this Media Boat Podcast episode. We'll be back next week for a new one. If you want to see us in video form, go to YouTube, search Media Boat Podcast. You'll find our page, our channel. Like, subscribe, watch, all of the above. We'd love to see the numbers go up, as you do as well. Just think of our subscriber count, our channel subscriber count, as our adventure level for YouTube. Just think of it like that. You're helping us power up. Anyway, if you want the audio version of our podcast, we're available now more places than ever. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. You can find us on Google Play. You can find us on Spotify even. Just search Spotify for Media Boat Podcast in the little search bar and you'll find us. I know because I've tried it and it works. So yeah, you can find our newest episodes as well as our back catalog going all the way back to the old year of 2016.
That's how you know we made it. You can search for our name and it pops up.
Yeah.
Hey!
If you want to follow us on social media, we're on there. Twitter @MediaBoatCast is our handle. Facebook, Media Boat Podcast. Search that. You'll find us. Email us at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to contact me directly, my Twitter account is @QuackerDrill, QUACKERDRILL. You are?
I am Not2, NAUGHT, and the number 2. That is also both of our gamer tags if you want to try and find us on any gaming system.
It's true. And if you want to watch us play some video games, every once in a while, we're on twitch.tv/MediaBoat playing something like PGA Tour 21. Or you can find us on YouTube Gaming every once in a while on our YouTube channel I mentioned before. So thank you for joining us this week. We'll be back next week to talk about even more stuff. I'll probably finish up Season 3 of Kipo. We might talk more about Hades. We'll talk more about Genshin Impact, I'm sure.
We'll have both our thoughts on Melody of Memory, any other TV shows or albums that come out that we see.
Yeah. We'll see.
Lots of stuff to talk about every week.
All that and more next week. So tune in. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks you for tuning in. More stuff next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.